This time we are going to move into a question and answer time with the various people here. As you know, we have different members and attenders of the churches represented here who have come to not only hear what's been heard here, but to also ask questions of their own to the pastors. And so I am going to open the floor up for questions. What I would say is, because this is a recording, if you do have a question that you want to express verbally, you can send that through the chat to me, and I will call on you and give you that chance, just indicate it as such. If you want your question just for me to read it, just please make note of that as well. I'm going to start as people are thinking of questions with an opening question that is, what, as a Christian, would you suggest is a good way to respond to racism when it is acted out? This was actually given by the person here earlier today. So I'll read that again. It's, what would you, as a Christian, suggest to be a good way to respond to racism when it is acted out?
So I'll start us off if that's okay. I think the first thing we have to be transparent about is that all of us see it in one form or another. And sometimes it's very difficult because it may be our friends, it may be our family, and quite frankly, sometimes it might be our church family. And so my belief is that when you see these things happening, that it's incumbent upon all of us as people of God, as Christians who recognize racism as a sin, is that you, number one, you go directly to the person. You Matthew 18 it, right? You want to go to them and talk to them in private and point that out. And then if they're not unresponsive to what you have to say, then you want to bring a wiser person with you in that discussion. But I think that the whole element of talking to someone about it, it takes it from being something funny or something that just what everyone does, and it puts it in the light of Christ's light. And I believe when you juxtapose that to the word, then people begin to see the fact that the joke or the comment or maybe the attitude is not consistent with God's word.
Thank you, Pastor Will. Very great response. Do we have any other pastors who'd like to weigh in on that?
I'd like to say something about that. I think the circumstances would be different depending, again, on, just like you said, who it might be. But not only that, if a black person witnesses a racist act on the part of a white person, that brings with it a certain dynamic. If a white person witnesses it with a white person, that brings a different dynamic. If you know the person, you don't know the person, that's a different dynamic. But what I found in my circumstances, which is usually somebody I know and the same race I am, and so I'm confronting that what is most effective is to invite the person into the struggle with you rather than just, call them out and confront them in a blaming way. And the way I've done that is, if somebody's made an off comment or used a word I'm uncomfortable with or something like that, and I'm not talking about blatant attacking a person, I'm talking about language and things like that. I will say something like, that really makes me uncomfortable. I don't know, I struggle myself with being sure that my language and the things I do aren't racist, and that really makes me uncomfortable. Is that not a struggle for you? And that invites them into the struggle, and we can talk about it, and we have a chance of getting to a place. If I just say, you shouldn't talk like that, that's racist, it's closed down. Nothing's going to happen positive after that, except for I might feel noble and prophetic. I might feel good about myself, but I'm not going to move anything. I'm not going to move the relationship forward, and I'm not going to change their opinion or what they do. But so I think the attitude of acknowledging, and that's part of what, Inger was saying so wisely, we're having to do all our own reading and educating, but I'm learning myself that I do these racist things that I have not recognized as racism. White fragility has been a eye-opening thing for me. So I don't have a problem inviting people into the struggle because I am struggling and I'm having new awareness. So I think for me, that's a key to confronting it when it happens. Now, if it's just, violent or something like that, obviously we have to take another stand. We have to put ourselves between the person being harmed and the person doing the harm. But I'm talking about the kind of language I would encounter in my church.
Thank you, Pastor Jan. We appreciate your candid response there. I'm going to